All right, we are live. So, ECM Hotep, we are live. We are the Seshew Medew Netcher. Today is Friday, and we having Freestyle Friday. And on our Freestyle Fridays, basically what we do, we take a random picture, preferably anyone that's volunteered by members of the Facebook group Seshew Medew Netcher. And we had a couple of pictures that were left over from last week. So we're going to tackle those first. Well, I'm saying those, but as many as we can in the amount of time. We don't want to go over 2 hours for the sake of the video and the archives for those who are watching live or watching the archive that could benefit from what we discussed. But in essence, Freestyle Friday is where we take a picture, a description, and we attempt to transliterate and translate it without the help of any dictionaries or sign lists. So it's basically freestyle, straight from the dome. All right, and in doing that, it lets us know, how many signs that we memorized on site, the individual signs as well as words, because the signs grouped together form words. So when we see patterns of signs, that would indicate different words, and we should be familiar with some of them. Um, as time goes on, there's more time put into doing exercises like this. So we're just going to jump in, but in the meantime, there are a couple of members of Seshew Medew on the panel. So maybe you all can introduce yourself. A quick roll call. Starting with myself. My name is Wujao. On Facebook as Wujao, and short and simple. Wujao. A lot of people butcher up my name if they see it spelled, but my name is pronounced Wu-Ja-U. Wujao. All right. I've heard people say Waju, Wajaru, and things like that. It's okay, but Wujao. All right. So I say Team Hotep, and everybody else on the panel, you can introduce yourself, and we can just get it in.
Hotep family, this is
Yeah.
brother Antoine Germain on Facebook and also Hush Your Mouth on Google. And I pronounce his name Ujado.
All right. We got Hush Your Mouth. We got Brother June.
Hotel, ECM Hotel. Welcome to the show. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hotel.
All right. All right.
Hey.
And June, I know you have a little one with you, so maybe a little one can chime in and give us a few of the Gardner codes on a couple of glyphs.
Yes, he'll be following along with us today.
All right. That's good. And we have Brother Kofi.
Huh?
ETM Hotep, Rini Kofi, Paisa, Hepanu, In Ra, Pata, Kwa Isa. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you all enjoy the show tonight.
All right. All right. And we have, next up, we have Sonette, Sister Tonica. Introduce yourself.
Hotep, this is Tonica, and well, on Facebook, you know me as Marie Tonica Kinyi, but just keep it simple, Tonica, and welcome.
All right. And next we have, that just joined us, Brother Satep and Ra, Chosen of Ra.
Peace, peace. Ready to get started.
All right. All right. And next up, just joined us as well, Brother Chris, Little Real.
Welcome in peace. Enjoy the show.
All right. All right. All right. Right. So, like I said, today is Freestyle Friday, and you are hanging out with Seshew Medew Netcher. And I know everyone could be doing something else on a Friday night, but if you're watching us live, definitely appreciate it. And we look forward to your participation. We have the chat. I believe the chat is open. Let me just double check. Yep, we have the chat open. And our Facebook group is open. So if you have any questions or comments, or if you want to chime in, if you want to come in on the panel. Now, Google Plus Hangouts only allows 10 people. But on Freestyle Fridays, or if we have room, if anybody want to chime in and participate as part of the conversation, we'll have some information to share and discuss. We play it by ear, but we'll give you the link. So just let us know. All right. So with that being said, we can just jump in. So let's see. Our first picture. I'm going to share my screen. Let me lock it on. All right. Okay. So let me. Can you all see that?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so hopefully it's big enough for the screen. Yeah, and also remind everyone's watching live, watching now, if you want to, if the screen looks a little blurry on the YouTube, you can click on the cogwheel right below the video, and you can set your settings to, I think, 720 HD, and you should get a better picture. All right. Okay, so this is gonna be our first inscription that we deal with. All right, so well, I'm sharing the picture, and anybody on the panel, just jump in. First come, first serve. Oh, I do want to stress the 4 steps. Okay, whether we're freestyling or not, whether we're using the dictionaries and the sign list along with, to aid us in translator and translating, you always go through the 4 steps that we discuss on Divine Words Wednesdays. So on Divine Words Wednesdays, we go over the methods in transliterating and translating. All right, and we emphasize the method that consists of those 4 steps. The first step being determining the direction that the glyphs are to be read. The second step is to identify each individual sign. The third step is to group those signs into words to be looked up into dictionaries. And you look them up in dictionaries and retrieve the definitions from the dictionary. And then step 4, last step, is to take those definitions from step 3 and then come up with a sensible translation. All right, so those 4 steps are always followed, even when you are freestyling like what we're doing, without the aid of the sign list or the dictionary. So we're relying on memory. The signs. Between us all on the panel, we should know all of these signs, pretty much. All right, and there's certain signs that we would know. It was mandatory for us to know, which are the monoliterals, which would be considered an alphabet, which are 24 in number, representing roughly the 25 sounds in the ancient Egyptian language. All right, so those are memorized, so we should all know those. But the other signs, which number in the thousands altogether, from the whole history of Kemet, it's very hard to memorize all of the signs. But there's certain signs that we use all the time that we should recognize on sight. So that's what we're relying on. All right, but anybody on the panel, with those 4 steps in mind, anybody on the panel can chime in. So we could actually do step 1. So who wants to call off step 1? Step 1 is...
Brother Clark, I'll go ahead and do. This is we're looking at, for some reason I don't see it on your screen, but the picture we're looking at, it has 2 columns.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Does anybody else see it? I want to make sure it's showing on the YouTube.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I don't see it though.
All right, let me do this. Let me.
It is there now, but it wasn't there before.
You see it now?
Right.
Okay.
Do you see that one?
No, I don't see it on the Hangout. Let's see. Is it showing up on the YouTube? You guys said it is clear on the YouTube.
Okay, just to be sure, let me stop sharing and let me reshare, because I would hate for us to discuss the entire picture and it's not seen. So let me just reshare again. All right, how about now?
Nothing. You got a black screen.
Yeah, I could see it at first. I can't see it now.
All I see is a black screen, as I saw the same screen I saw before.
All right. Boy, it's like technical things. What is it? Is it Mercury in retrograde or something that people
Yeah,
talk about? Um, all right, let's try this again. Can y'all see my screen at all? Can y'all see me?
I see this. I see the Seshew Money Netcher symbol.
I see you. I don't know. I see you.
Yeah, I can see you as well.
Okay, all right, let me share one more time. Let's try this again. All right. And I'm trying to push my mouse even harder. It's like share, as if that has something to do with it. All right. How about now?
2.
Two.
Okay. All right, yeah. It's on actually on the YouTube. I see it. And it's confirmed by the brother Jehuti. All right, good. All right, so let's go for it. So hush your mouth, I believe. Oh wait a minute, I think he left and coming.
Something happened. Satipara and Antoine popped out.
All right, we'll just give him a second to join us back. I see Antoine came back in.
Yeah, I can see now. Must be something on my end.
All
All right.
right. Yep. It's that PC, but we won't talk about that.
When I look at this picture, I see two columns. Uh, I see one column where the cobra. I'm looking at the cobra, the reed leaf, the seat, the rabbit. They're all facing towards the left, and so I'm going to read that side from left to right. And the animal is facing opposite direction. Read that one from right to left. All right, so I'm just gonna go through the first column and kind of see what I recognize and what I don't recognize. Hopefully, I can get some assistance with. Um, all right. The first thing we have is our
Can you see my
formula.
cursor? Real quick, can you see my cursor? I'll follow you.
Yes, I can see your cursor.
Okay, go ahead.
First thing we have is the that Medew in formula, which we should hopefully be familiar with from watching our videos. Um, After that, I see a seated throne, raised bread loaf. I'm not sure about that next, or I'm not sure about that symbol, like an egg. I'm sure that's not what it's called specifically. Hopefully, someone can assist me with that one. And then next, I see the rabbit, and I see the water ripples in, so I know that's WN. WNN. I see the basket with the handle on the right hand side. I see the front of the basket. I see the myrrh, or no, not the myrrh. I see the moth, the myrrh, which I believe I can't remember what that object is. Up under that, I see the beetle. After I see the abstract symbol. Oh, after that, I see the three strokes. And I'm curious to know if that three strokes is going to be um, to mean plural or if it's going to be a determinative. Up under that, I see the basket, and I see the Netcher symbol, repeat murder, doorbolt. And this the symbol. I don't recognize this symbol either. It looks like it's before the two reed leaves.
I think that's the pencil, and I think
Yeah. You said it's the what? I didn't hear you.
penciling sign. I think the TI.
TI. Okay. Then we have the eye, see the throne again, sash plant, raised bare loaf, water ripple. Then we have a Sanu. Inside the Sanu, we have the rock, the sun, beetle, and the um, neb. So that's what I see for the first uh, column for signs I can identify.
All right. Yeah, that's straight. Now this symbol that you were calling myrrh is usually just M, not myrrh, and it's they call it a half. You know, that's what they name it. Egyptologists have named it a half. You know, and there's different variations of it. They'll say a sharp half, a blunt half, or a curved half. And I forget which one this one is off the top of my head, but it's definitely a half, and it's representing the phoneme or the phoneme M.
Is that M or I M? Just the M?
M as in Mary, just M.
Okay. What about that?
It can represent I M as well.
Okay,
So
I think I seen this I M or G, I M or GS.
mhm.
Above the rabbit, the egg.
Yeah.
Okay.
hmm So okay, that's the first column on the left, which you said was vertical and it is facing to the left, which means we read it from left to right. So the second column. Anybody else want to do the second column like that?
Yeah. Or the column on the right, and on this one the glyphs are facing to the right. If you look down, you can see the rabbit and the seated person facing to the right, flagpole. You go down, you can see the viper facing to the right. Also, quail chick inside the Seshew facing to the right. So this would be read right to left.
All right. And
And
any
then,
signs you can identify?
yeah, it starts off with the Jed Medew formula again. So we have the cobra first, and then the walking stick. Next would be the M17. That's reed leaf. Next after that is another way that we see that the N. That's the crown right there, representing the N. Um, and then next, and I don't know. I don't know what this is.
That's the sign for meat. The nether red meat.
Okay. Okay. And then we see a uh, water ripple in 35. Next is the right to left again. That's the raised bread loaf X1 with the seated person. We have a rabbit on top of two water ripples, and then a basket with the handle. We have again the half. We have I think that's a single stroke, and then the Netcher symbol, and then the Ankh symbol. Go down and make out the first one, but the next one that's the leg. I think the next one that's a rope, and then a jar. I can't forget what that's called too. It's like a jar of some kind. And then three of the arrows pointing down. We have the viper, horn viper with the basket, no handle, raised bread loaf, and then the three strokes. And then we have a Seshew with the inside that reading also right to left. M17, the reed leaf, followed by the mem board. Um, water ripples. Then going back to the right side, we have raised bread loaf, the quail chick, another raised bread loaf, the Ankh symbol, Then going to the bottom, set the crook. I forget what the middle symbol is. And the last symbol is the sedge plant.
All right, straight. All right, that's straight. Okay. Um, Anybody got something to add as far as the identity of any of the signs?
Um, yeah, well, I think right before the leg,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was the heel, I think.
Okay, yep. For the shoe.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. And I know, this symbol up here, up top here on my cursor is the bows. Those are bows there, two bows.
It
Um,
represent the goddess meat though, right? That's,
yep, yep. hmm All right, so okay, so it looks like we've identified all of the signs on here. So that will be step 1 and 2. You know, that takes care of step 2 without the help of a sign list. Now, any signs that we would have gotten stuck on in a normal circumstance, we would just look them up in the sign list. All right, and we go by Gardner's sign list, which are categorized. All the signs are categorized per commonality. Each sign has a certain common theme. So let's say all of the birds are grouped together under the letter G. All of the vegetation signs that deal with flowers and vegetation are within the category of M, as in Mary. And then all of the mammals are in E, parts of mammals F, um, men and men's occupations A, women occupations B, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the Gardner sign list that we all use. All right, and that's just a reference so that we can identify the sign by some kind of reference number, and we can discuss it and identify them. All right, so that's handles steps 1 and 2. So now we're at step 3, basically grouping these signs into words. So we could start back over here in this left column, and let's just start identifying some groupings. But I did want to ask, okay, either Antoine or June, what what allowed you to know that the cobra was first instead of this sign over here? Because you mentioned that we read from left to right, and it looks like this first sign is here. So what makes you say the cobra before you do the other sign?
I think you'll have to unmute Hashem or Coffee and set it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it came back. But this is a really probably one of the most common phrases that we work with when breaking down these texts, and just from working with it so much, we know that the cobra comes first. Um, I don't know, reading from like top to bottom. I know we're going left to right, but his head is like poking out right in front of the walking stick.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that glyph is kind of deceiving. So basically, that formula I kind of got into memory, but as you stated, the cobra is above the stick. The head is above the stick.
Right. Okay. All right. That's good. I was just asking because that could be confusing to anyone doing this for the first time or in your beginner stages. So, all right. And also, the scribes they paid a lot of attention to aesthetics, and they carved these different signs in what we call quadrats, which are imaginary squares or rectangles, and certain glyphs or combinations of glyphs, especially with the birds. You'll see different signs like down here in this. Oh, let me put my cursor back on. Down here in this right chenu or cartouche, you see the quail chick with the two raised bread loaves tucked right in the space under the belly and above the back. So that if you look at that, it creates a nice square or rectangle right there. And also even these first three, it forms a nice rectangle. So a lot of attention was paid. Even the heel right here, this heel is tucked right in with the leg. That's right here. All right, so a lot of attention was paid to the aesthetics, the looks, the neatness of it. All right, so let's go into the words, and I'm looking at the chat. It looks like Chosen Lifestyle has basically broken down the first, which would be step 3 where we're at, the first column on the left. So I'm not sure if you all are checking that out, but he has Jed Medew in, Aset, Wen Enek, M Keperu Nefer. And then I believe he's continuing with Mes T, Wasir Nesu, and then inside the Shenu he has Neb Keperu Ra. So anybody have any comments about that?
Sounds good. I got kind of after the win Winek WNN.K. After that, I got kind of lost.
Mm-hmm.
I think he might have missed the name. I'm trying to pull it up right now, but I would have had Jed Medew in Aset, went in Ek, M.
I'm here. There it goes. Somebody has their playback.
Is that mine? Oh, my bad. I was trying to pull it up. It just came up. Okay, what did I say? Went in Ek, M. Keperu, Ek, Nefer, Imseti, Basir, Nasut, and then Neb Keperu. So
Okay, so basically, Chosen Lifestyle, if you still listen, I believe you're still listening. Actually, let me set my controls because it looks fuzzy. Set it up to 720. Yeah, now it's clear. All right. So basically, June. Okay, so he has Jed Medew in Aset. So we all can agree with that. Jed Medew in Aset. Okay. So we have Jed Medew in Aset. So we all agree with that. Now he has Win, and then he has Inek, M Keperu Nefer, or Nefir.
Will it be Bryson, stop. Will it be after the win? Will it be N? Will it be WN? Period I. N period K. When
When we grouping the words together, the win, that's one word. The ek
right.
is
I understand that, but when we write the formula die-en ek, it's almost in that same formula. So that's why I know the rabbit is WN and the water reed is a complement to the N of the WN. Then you got NX right there. So it would be WN, it would be WN period IN N period K. That's what I'm asking. I know when we do the DNX formula, may that be given to you. That's how we do that formula. That's almost in that same formula.
You know, well, what I get from it is the win is the WNN win, and then you have the ek, which is the pronoun. So that's the pronoun.
So
okay,
WNN.K.
I mean, but it can be spelled any way, though. I mean, WN, you can look at WN, we know that means to exist. Or WNN, it means to exist. So So I mean that's why I just said WN period N. I mean because if you look it up, it's I know that because I mean we done dealt with it plenty of times. So I mean the WN could be just plain WN or WNN. But I could be wrong.
I will go with what Satep was saying. The WNN dot ek, WNN ek.
All right. Let me put my cursor on the picture to show what we're talking about. So we're discussing this here, the hare or rabbit, and then the two water ripples here, and then the basket with the handle. So this word here, now what Kofi is saying is that the rabbit by itself is a biliteral WN, and then the water ripple beneath it, he's saying is a phonetic complement. So this additional water ripple is what he's separating with a dot. So he's saying when, which is WN dot N dot K, which is similar to the DNX formula, and that's understandable and reasonable. But Satep is correct in this case because this word here is when in as one word, and then ek will be the pronoun on that particular one word. So it's not too many words that do this. So it's just that with this we have to remember that because this is the same thing as when in Neferu, which is an epithet of Osiris or Osir, which means he who exists in perfection or he who exists perfectly. When it comes to the epithet of his name, so his name is Winin, and you'll see it like this with the rabbit and the two N's beneath it or beside it. Winin Neferu. So in this case, it would be Winin and then X, so it would be WNN.K. And in this format, it's basically like a more of a request, a very passive way of saying, may you exist. All right, so you're correct that it means to exist, but then the pronoun on here is you, so you exist, but it's more of in a very passive, may you exist. So so there you go. So hopefully even Chosen Lifestyle on the Hangout, if you're still there, hopefully you're following along. Because the brother on Chosen Lifestyle, he had Jed Medew N offset. He had WN space N.K, which, like I said, is reasonable. I mean, it's understandable, because that's definitely what it looks like. So since we're discussing his first, because he's the one that volunteered to do it first, so to continue on, after that he has M. And I noticed he spelled it EM, so I would just let him know to remove the E on there as far as transliterating. It would just be M. So you have M, and then he has Keperu Nefer. Does anybody have any comments about that?
Yeah, I think he missed the ek. We have the basket with the handle under the Keperu.
Okay, let me put my cursor on it so that we can follow on. So you right here. All right.
Yeah. Yep. There's another basket with the handle underneath the Keperu.
So what would be the correction?
I think the Keperu part is right. RW dot.
My name is Scott. Lane Scott. I don't trust you. Sir? I don't trust you.
I'm looking. Is it going to be a .K? Is it going to be a .K again? That's one question I have. And also, what's the significance of? Yeah, is it going to be a .K again after the Kepra? And also, what's the significance of the 3 strokes? Now, because we're looking at collective nouns, those 3 strokes got me questioning them.
I thought those 3 strokes was plural. That's where he got the Kepler from. I'm not looking at his thing, but Saber said he said Kepler. So he made it plural here. So, but I don't. Yeah, I got a question too with the. Is it going to be Kepler dot K or is it going to be Nephra K? Nephra dot K. M Seti. Usil Nasu. Yeah, Kepler.
No, it's his name down there, separate. I think it's gonna be never.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know that. I just said the whole thing, but I'm saying, I mean, I just went through the whole thing, but yeah, that K right there, I'm kind of, is it gonna be Nephra K? I'm set.
Pepperoo at.
What are you doing? I'm not helping you, sorry. No.
All right. Anybody else have anything? I'm just coming in on.
I think the K is going to be before the Nephra, just like the K was right after the N. Dot K was right after the N. I think the dot K is going to be right after the R.
All right. I'm hearing some background, so yes, I'm looking at the YouTube. Okay, yeah, that cleared up. Whoever. All right, so let me put my cursor on the picture. All right, so we are discussing. All right, so we just handled M. All right, so the brother had M, except he just put the E in front of it. So just remove the E, and that's perfectly fine. So we have Win and Ek M, and now we're discussing Keperu because we have the plural strokes here. Keperu, Keperu Ek, or it would be Keperu.K, as Brother June said. Now the question was about collective nouns, and this is true. Just to give you a little FYI on collective nouns, a lot of masculine collective nouns, they are formed from verbs. Okay, so as we know Keper is a verb that means to come into being, or to evolve, or even to create, and things like that, or to exist. So Keperu, the pluralization, the appearance of pluralization on the masculine verb is making that into a collective nouns. So instead of it being to come into being, now it is from a verb to come into being, now it is the result of coming into being, which is form. So in this case, we would say forms. So we have the K here, or the basket with the handle representing the second person masculine pronoun, suffix pronoun, K, which is you. I mean, the pronoun would be you, but it's masculine, second person. So it'd be your form. In this case, forms, your forms. All right, so just look back at what the brother has, and he has Keperu. Okay, now he has next after that, he has Nefer, which I believe everybody is in agreement with. But then after that, he has Mes, and then T, and then Wasir Nesu. So what are you all's comments on that?
So what are you all's comments on that? You say he has Mess?
Yeah, he has MS space,
okay,
space,
yeah.
TI.
It's gonna be M. The M is gonna be by itself, and then the double, the pestle and the double reed leads are gonna be one word. It's gonna be SETI. It's gonna be M SETI.
Right. Okay. All right. So that's a correction there. So M SETI. So it would be transliterated as I M S T Y. Imseti. All right. Now let's go on. Let's see what he has next is.
No.
Oh, let me just correct you on here. Now let's go on. Let's see what he has next is. I'm hearing the echo. Oh, let me just correct you. All right. Now let's go on. Let's see what he has next is. I'm hearing the echo.
That's you. Everybody else mic's closed. So
Yeah, so everybody muted except for you, Saber.
Wow. All right. All right. Hopefully everybody can still hear me. Yeah, I hear the echo. All right. So Imseti. All right. So we settled that. So Imseti, and I just typed it in. I guess when I clicked it, it turned the volume back on. All right. So Imseti is there. Now to move on, let me go show my cursor back. So we discussed here. So we have Keperu Ek, Nephir, and then we have Imseti. So all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 signs right here to group together is Imseti. Now the brother has next. He has Wasir Nesu, and then inside the Shenu he has Neb Keperu Ra. So he has Wasir Nesu, and then Neb Keperu Ra. So any comments on that?
No, he's good on that.
All right, so that's grouping them together. So now let's go back to the top of the same column and then come away with some meaning, a translation, because that was dealing with grouping the signs and identifying the transliteration of those groups or those words. So now let's translate it. Left column.
Words. I'll try. Words spoken by a set. May you exist. In his forms.
No.
Perfect and set. I'm lost with the Nephilim right there. I don't know. Because I only see the Nephilim sign, so I don't know. Would it be good or beautiful or perfection or?
With the Nefer go with Seti? Describe Seti?
It's Nephilim Seti.
Okay, I tell you what. Let's do it like this. Kofi, give your best rendition of the whole column, and then someone else can give theirs, and so on and so on. So let's do it that way.
All right, well, I'll start over. Words spoken by a set. May you exist in his forms. I don't know. It's not gonna make sense. Perfect and Seti. I know it's not making sense right there. That's why I'm lost there. But perfect or in Setis. King Wasir. Neb Ka. Neb Keper. Neb Keper. Kepera. I know right there in the middle is toe up. I toe it up.
Okay, all right, no problem. That's um, that's what everybody's gonna get a shot. I mean, we're all gonna chime in on it. So, who wants to give theirs? If there's any difference from what Brother Kofi said.
This is Antoine Jermaine's going to go real quick. Words spoken by Aset. May you exist. May you become perfect, or may you become Seti perfect. King Wasir Neb Kaparath.
Okay.
So the only difference I had was may you exist, and then the other one was may you become. That's the only difference I had.
Okay. Anybody else have something different?
Let me see. Jed Medew, Set went in at
No, we're doing the we're doing the translation, English translation.
word spoken, word spoken by Set. Uh, you exist in your forms. Uh, Beautiful Mseti, Wasir, King Wasir Masud. So King Wasir, Neb Kepper, Ra.
Okay. All right. Well, so we can go to the next one. I'm just going to give a rendition. So we have words spoken by Osset, and then may you exist, and then in here will be as, but it's used more like that's how we say, you know, in middle Rani Kemet, how you would say in or as something, but may you exist in your perfect forms. See, the nefer goes with forms. It's an adjective that describes the forms. So may you exist in your perfect forms. And then it's the name Imseti, which is, we know, is one of the sons of Heru. Heru has four sons, Imseti, Duamatef, Kabesanuf, and Happy. So this is one of the four sons of Heru. So may you exist in your perfect forms, Imseti, the Wasir, or the Osiris, King, Neb Keperu Ra. All right. The way Antoine and Kofi, you were saying Nefer Imseti, this being an adjective, you were putting it before what it was describing, which
And
in most cases,
it makes sense too. It's saying you exist, may you exist in your many forms, because if you break down his name in the Shanu, it's Lord of the transformations of Ra.
mm-hmm,
So it makes sense.
mm-hmm,
And so that those three strokes is for form. The S on forms for forms. All right.
right, okay. So, so there you have it. So we straight. So now, you know, some of this stuff is repeated onto the next column. So now we can move on to the column on the right hand side. So let's where we did step 1 and 2 for all of it. So we're on step 3 for this right side, this column on the right hand side. And because the brother Chosen Lifestyle had typed his in, that's why I was using his as a reference first. But no one's typed anything up this time. So anybody on the panel can
Oh yeah, I want to
give it.
commend Chosen Life for stepping out and putting his transliteration out there for us to go over. I know that takes courage to step out your comfort zone and to present what you may have put down. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, yep. That's good. Excellent. And plus, in order to put yourself, I mean, put what you have out there and to allow it to be critiqued, criticized, corrected, and all that stuff. That is real good. All right. Next. All right. The right hand column. Right column. Maybe somebody. Hold up. Chosen lifestyle. That is the brother. Let's see. The brother Darius Satep Ra. I believe so. If it is, you can let me know. You can type it in once you hear it. Once you hear, I know it's a delay. But okay, so the right hand side. Anybody want to give a transliteration? Okay, it is. All right.
Well, we know we still have the dead magic formula, except for the N. It's not the water symbol this time. The N is the crown, I believe.
Disarray crown. Oh.
Yeah, the crown, the Deseret crown. Yep.
Mhm. So it will be. I start and somebody can finish it. Words. Day in. I mean the Jed Meadow in neat. Winnick. Winnick. Emmy. Netcher. Quab. Hess. I think Emmy. Neb. F. Nebu. No, I don't know what that. No. Is that Emmy F. Neb. Nebuti? I can't see. I see the T at the end right there. That's what I'm doing, but I know it's plural. Is it going to be NBWT? Nabuet? I know I'm pronouncing it, but I think it's going to be NB. Just me guessing. NBWT or NB. Um. Yeah, NBWT. Amen tut unshinu. Amen tuk. Amen tut unk. Heka. I think that's Inu suit. Maybe wrong. I can't remember exactly what that. I know that's the Heka. I know that Heka. I know that's the Sage plant suit, but that's middle sign. I can't remember exactly what that is. I don't know.
That's Inu.
INU is it? What? How you? And IN Inu IN. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that is it. That's the symbol when you spelling Anu. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Okay, so back up. Does anybody have any comments about that transliteration? No. All right. Well, I'll just make a few comments now. As you.
I got a quick question.
All right. Go ahead.
Not so much a comment. Up under the Netcher and the Ankh, and I see we have the what is that before? Is that before the leg?
Right
That
here.
the yes, that Heka
That
or
is
HQ.
that is
That's
the
the
hill.
that's the heel. That's the K. That's why
The
I said
K. Okay.
quad.
Qua.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Q in manual decodage or the K with the dot under it in diacritic.
Okay.
All right. And the only thing that I would comment about.
I'm upset with that scribe. Like he tried to squeeze that in there.
Oh, that's what I was mentioning before, where he took advantage of this space in front of the leg to put the heel right there, snuggled up right up in that space where the leg is. So right here we have Q, B, and then we should kind of be familiar with this because we have the three arrows, which is the word Senu, brothers, Senu. So it's Kabeh Senu because this is a sign here usually used by itself for Kabeh, which means to cool off something. It's a jar with water pouring out of it. Kabeh Senu.
Man, I
So
almost grabbed
okay,
your
that's
book.
where I'm. Okay, this here the bottom. Okay, I'm thinking those were crosses. That's why I said M-E-E, M-E-U. Those are arrows.
Yeah, those are arrows pointing down. So it's
Wow.
Senu F. Kabeh
Okay.
Senu. Most people say his whole name is Kabeh Senu, but it's actually Kabeh Senu F. He who cools his brothers. Um, Kabeh Senu. And then the other thing, now this is just where just reason would kick in because now this does look like Nebut, just like how you said NBWT. This definitely looks like that, But now we have to reason it out because once you start to translate it to make sense, then this part as Nebut won't make sense anymore. So most likely this isn't a raised bread loaf. This
That's
is
the
most.
car. This is the car.
Right. It's the XA. So to be Neb Kau.
Lord,
In other
Lord of
words,
appearance.
the sun that's the sun would be,
I'm lost. I mean, I'm lost. Now, you said that wouldn't be a bread loaf, that would be a car.
yeah, Ka,
And
not the raised arms Ka, but the Ka
the
that
X,
that is the sun that's appearing over the horizon.
Okay, you talking about
yeah,
X8.
yeah,
X8.
like usually
That,
before the
yeah,
some of the throne names, you'll have that where it says Lord of appearances.
yeah, but I don't, that, I mean, I know what you, I mean, excuse me, I know what you're talking about, the X8, the rated sun, but I mean, that look like, I mean, that would be hard for me to look. I mean, because most of the time you'll see a half a sun and you'll see a piece at the top of the sun, the rays at the top of the sun. That's how I know that would be Ka, which is
Right.
XA. But that's that I that there I mean that's hard. That would be hard because it
No, that's
look
why.
like a T.
Yeah, that's why I said the way it looks. I think everybody would initially transliterate it as just as you did NBWT, and that would be Nebut. But once you start to translate it to make it make sense, the word Nebut wouldn't make sense. So then you had to reevaluate, and through a process of elimination you would realize, and plus familiarity, like Satep said, that Lord of Appearance is pretty common for some of the kings before they Shanu, especially during this period of time of Nebuchadnezzar. You got Ramesses, you have Seti the First, and this happens to be well, I don't want to give the name away until well, you said it in Shanu, Tutankhamen. So during Tutankhamen, all the way from Ramses, Seti, Ramses, Tutankhamen, you'll see a lot of those Lord of Appearances there. So that's why I said this would take some troubleshooting a little bit, and that's why we always emphasize for people to be flexible. Because on first appearance, I think everybody would say Nebut, you know, the plural of Neb, Nebut, feminine plural, but it wouldn't make sense. So it's Neb Kau. All right, and everything you said, Amen, and then we have Tut, and then Unk, and then you have Hika. I believe you said Hika, and then Inu. This is translated IWNW, and most people pronounce that as Anu, or some people don't even try to pronounce it; they just say Heliopolis. And then we have the plant. Now you said this was a sedge or soup. Anybody have any comments about this plant?
I think that's I can't remember the name, but that's the Shema plant.
Okay, Shema. Okay,
Yeah.
right. Yep. But
Where
it
we,
looks
where we at? Can you put the cursor on there?
right here. Can you see my cursor?
Okay, yeah, yeah.
All right. So yeah, and it does look like the soup plant. Let me see if I can zoom in some more. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. So it looks like the sedge plant for sure. So now, with that being said, let's look at this because okay, see this plant? So it looks like a sedge, and look at this plant. They look identical. And over here, it is a sedge plant because it spells out the word nisut. Over here, it's the same. It looks the same, but it's actually not the same plant. So during this is a clear example of being flexible and using your comment, using your sense and using all your clues of the things that you previously have acquired through your learning process. All right, because being familiar, like Tutankhamen, the name, it wouldn't make this name, this part wouldn't make sense if it was king, because over here it says ruler, and it just wouldn't make sense when you try to say it in English like that. And plus, we're freestyling now, but if you definitely use the dictionaries or the sign list and things like that, you'll probably come away a lot faster with what this is. Because the moment something doesn't make sense, then you have to just reevaluate it. And through a little bit of time, you figure out that this is not the soot, sedge plant meaning soot, but it's the plant that deals with the word Shema.
So it's basically saying ruler of Heliopolis in Lower Egypt.
Upper.
Upper, my bad, sorry.
Right.
We gonna use Anu, Satekra. We ain't gonna use Heliopolis.
No, I was just saying it just for the listening audience.
Yeah. So in upper, today we would say southern Inu because there was another. So we have southern Inu, Shema. So Inu Shema. All right. So that's
Hold on, I got a question. You said southern. So that would be southern Anu.
yep.
What I mean, I'm just asking a question. Wouldn't the open mouth be at the bottom of the plant then? What is that, rec? Wouldn't it be rec then with the open mouth, southern or south?
Resi. You talking about the word resi?
Yeah, RS, yeah.
Yeah. That's a word that means southern too. But no. This means Shemao, which means the narrow part. And I'm just saying today what people translate that as is southern because on our maps it would be southern Egypt. It would be south on our maps. But we would say upper. Some people would say upper Heliopolis or upper Inu. So you could say southern Inu or upper Inu. That's what that would be. And that's to make the distinction because Inu means a city of pillars. It's a pillar or column, city of columns. And there was multiple cities of columns. So this is a specific one that we know today through the Greek name of it as Heliopolis. Some people call it On, O-N. Some people say Anu, A-N-U. Some people say Heliopolis. And then those of us who are familiar with the way it's transliterated, we'll say Inu.
Weren't there many obelisks where Tekkens and Anu also? And they build a lot of Tekkens.
Yeah, those are the obelisk Tekkens, but these are
Mm-hmm.
column city of columns. So, yep. All right. So now, well, we kind of talked about a few of the meanings. So let's just give a more smoother translation for that column. I'm just checking out the comments on the chat. We have Brother Shezmu Patah, ETM Hotep brother, and he made a comment about honorary transposition. All right, so that's a good point to bring up because that is definitely what's going on in both of these Shanu here, the left and the right one, and I don't think we mentioned that before. So honorific transposition is when, just to explain it briefly, is when the name of a deity or king, the name of a deity or the words for deity and king are honorifically transposed to the beginning of a phrase out of honor. So grammatically, it would be said afterwards, but as far as in the script, honor was given to the deity or the words for deities and king. So in this case, on the left-hand side, we have Neb, Keperu, Ra. So we have two deities here. That's why we say Neb first. So otherwise, people will say, well, you're reading it backwards, but it's honorific transpositions going on twice in this particular Shanu. And then on the one on the right, we have Amen, the Netcher Amen, being said written first, but we say it after Tut Unk. Okay, everyone's familiar with Tut Unk Amen. He's like one of the famous kings that most people will know about, King Tut, as people call him. But we don't say Amen Tut Unk. We say Tut Unk Amen. And then the other parts of his name, Hekayenu Shemau, or Shema. All right. So yeah, that's a good point about the honorific transposition. All right.
He asked about the Deseret. We kind of talked about it earlier about the crown being an N.
Oh, okay. Let me
Looks like
go.
he asked about that.
Okay. Let me zoom back out so we can see the.
Yeah, I think it can be used as the preposition as well.
It's just the N in the formula though, right? The instead of the water
Yeah,
ripple, they just replaced it with the crown.
yeah, it's just an N the J from.
Is that late? Isn't that late Egyptian or that crown? Didn't that come later?
The use of it for the N, yes, but you're right. It is used as a substitute for an N, and as you can see, the right hand column has more glyphs than the left hand column. So consideration was taken for space, the allotted space, and everything as well. Okay, so let's so who wants to give a smooth translation for the whole right hand side, the right column? Anybody on the panel?
Yeah, I'll try.
All right.
So that will be word spoken by Nit. May you appear as a living God. Kebe, Kebe Lord of appearances. And then the name that would be Tut Ankamun Heka Iwen Shema.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Anybody has anything different? Anybody have anything different?
That's I agree with it. I wouldn't use I wouldn't use God right there. I would use divinity.
Can you explain that F neb again? Like you said, it means appear. May you appear.
Where? The last part?
Yeah, the last part with the F neb. That means
The F is on the on the name Kebe Sinuef. And then you have Lord of Appears, Neb Kau.
so the Lord of appears is the neb,
The basket.
T,
Yeah, the
in
basket.
the three strokes.
Yes, correct.
All right. Do I?
Okay, Antoine, I'm not sure, but it sounded like you said T. But you know, this is a XA, so
Yeah, that's yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
it's a Neb Kau.
Sorry, it's not the bread loaf. It's yeah, it's
Mhm.
the here with the
The rated sun.
horizon, the sun, the sun over
Yeah.
the horizon. That's
Oh,
You
the
okay.
remember that? Yeah,
Okay.
in appearance. That's what she get in appearance. They
Okay.
don't. I mean, that we just talked about that. I was mixed up with that too a while ago. I said the T2 because it's hard to make that sign out as XA because it looked like a bread loaf, and the rated sun is well, the half a sun, and then you have the top of the rays at the top of the sun. It doesn't have that in there. I don't know. I guess it was an area on the scribe or they just colored it in too much where the darker black where it looked like a T and not a half a sun with the rays at the top of it. So yeah.
Hmm.
That got me right there. I thought that was a T, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Because I was trying to figure out where that appears come from, but now I see once you make it that sun ray.
Neb Kau. All right, and then the horn viper, the F goes with the it's the pronoun on Kabesanu F. Kabesanu. Okay, so all right, so Kofi pretty much had the same thing except you said you would substitute divinity for the word God here, this Netcher poll. Right.
Mhm.
All right, anybody else have anything different? Let me zoom back out. Does anybody have anything different? Um, all right, well, the only thing that I agree with everything with the exception that this here, you said, may you appear as a living God, but it's may you.
May you exist. Sorry. Did I say up here?
I believe you did, but
Okay.
okay, so
Okay,
yeah,
my bad. So that's may you exist as a living God.
okay, yeah,
Yes.
all right, and yeah, so the word God, not to go too far into it, but yeah, God, God is one of those. It can be very ambiguous because you have different concepts of God from different people, from different cultures and things, as the way it is today. But really, when you really analyze God in the different cultures, there's way more similarities than there are differences. Really, even among the Abrahamic belief systems, it's just how it's interpreted and delivered to the masses of people. But when you go into the text, the actual scriptures that they subscribe to, you'll see a lot of commonalities, a lot of similarities, with that. So it just depends on who you're talking to or who you're dealing with, whether or not the word God can trigger some vagueness, some ambiguity, or everyone knows knows what you're talking about. But in the African context, God has a particular scope of meaning. Even if we say God, we use the word God.
Yeah,
Uh,
I just don't. I don't use it just for the jargon of the word. I mean, I don't. I mean, I don't prescribe to any religious paradigm. So I mean, so I wouldn't be using those words in those religious paradigms. You won't hear me speaking using the word Jesus or Abraham or God or Yahshua. I don't use. I wouldn't. Why would I use that type of vernacular when I'm not in that type of paradigm? So, I just don't
so let
use
me
that word.
so let me ask you, what do you call Jesus?
I don't call him nothing because he don't exist to me. So I
No, I'm talking
mean,
about if you had to tell somebody.
who he was, I say Osa Rapis. That's who I would say. I would say Osa Rapis. That's
They'd
who
be
I
like,
would say.
they'll say, show me that in my Bible. What are you talking about?
I can show. I
Who?
can.
Osa?
I can show him Osa Rapis. I can show him all the way up to he become Jesus. I can even show him in the different councils
Wait, he
where
become he become who?
he become Jesus. With the
He,
statues.
he become
My
who? He become who?
he
No,
become.
I'm just messing with you because you said Jesus, the word Jesus. I was trying to get you to say the word. But
Oh
no,
well, I said it.
no, I'm just saying. So I guess my point is, it just depends on who we're talking to. That
Mhm.
because sometimes we have to use these words in order to have to be in sync with somebody else that we're dealing with or talking to. So like when we say God, um, we know we're not talking about, like, for example, here when it says may you exist as a living God or the living God, we know that this is not talking about Jesus. We know this not talking about Yahweh and things like that. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends on the audience. But the word spirit, the word God, even the word religion, and the word soul. Some of these words are so diverse in their meanings based on different people that it becomes a conversation in and of itself. The moment you bring these words up, we'll always have to define them first. Because the reason why I say that is because even when you use the word divinity, which is appropriate, but even when you use the word divinity, it comes from the word divine. The word divine will take you back to the word God, because divine, diva, from the Sanskrit, it will bring you right back to God. So um,
But when it also bring you back to parent, when it bring you back to mother, when it bring you back to father, when it bring you back to nourisher. I mean, that word is like you were saying earlier. I mean, it's multiple meanings, to the word. So like, I mean, even if I didn't use the word God, I would say parent. You know what I'm saying? Or if I identified this supreme force and intellect as feminine, I would say she, or I identified as he, or it. Or also could it also mean king? Can it also mean elder?
Well, now this is the thing, and this is where um, more specifics dealing with um, the phenomena, semantics, because meaning is born out of context. So so yes to all your questions. It can mean whatever the context say it means. So that's where meaning comes from. But when it's defined as something, those are the general consensus of a particular culture. They define words based on a consensus, but the meaning of those words is based on the context, based on how it's used. So just because a word is defined a way in a dictionary does not mean that it means that. Because I can define the word hot as something that's based on temperature, that something that is hot that can burn you, blah blah blah. But then when I use the word hot in the terms of like that's a hot shirt, where you get that from? I want to buy it. I want to buy one. Where you get that from? That shirt is hot. Or those shoes are hot. I'm not using it based on this defined meaning or definition, I should say. I'm using it in the context of my sentence. I'm using it in the terms of it. Those shoes look good. Those shoes are nice. Those shoes are attractive. You know, so meaning is always born out of context. I always say that context is the mother and father of meaning. So that's what I'm saying. God, in this sense, living God, the context. If we're dealing with the African context, then we can, as long as we know the context, then the meaning is perfectly fine. That's why I just always stress that when I see people don't want to use certain words, not just the word God, but a lot of other words, and I'm like, wow, people who try to chop out, or get rid of a lot of words. If we all understood semantics a little bit better, we wouldn't really have a problem with any of these words, because it's just on how you use it in the context you use them in, you know, because that will lead to people talking about different languages. Like English is a bastard language. English is a language of confusion. It's the devil's language or whatever. I hear all these different things, but once you actually study language, which is what linguistics is the study of language, and you have multiple branches of linguistics. Once you study how languages work and how they function and what they're used for, a lot of people won't, people will stop saying those kinds of things, because a language is as useful as the whole point of a language is, or the goal of a language is to be less ambiguous as possible, because the point of communication is to transfer your thoughts to someone else. You have to have a meeting of the mind.
This goes back to what you're saying about the Tower of Babel on Wednesday night.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mentioned that story as a good story. That's actually a good story. I like that story in the Bible. I think it was Genesis chapter 10 or chapter 11. Chapter 10, I think. Um, that's a good story, because the gist of the story is you have this one person named Nimrod, who is obviously a leader. He's a community, a big time leader, and he's unified a lot of people, and these people are unified speaking one language, which means that everybody under his rulership can communicate to one another. So because the communication is so on point, these people can build and do whatever they want. So what do? They build a tower. They call it the Tower of Babel, but they build this tower to heaven. And then, so whatever this tower was, it caught the attention of God. And as far as the story goes, it caught the attention of God. God looking and seeing this tower being done, he's like, hey, wait a minute. And God doesn't like it. So he sends some folks down there. First, God goes down to see what they're doing, as if God don't know everything. But God goes down and see and try to does some recon, and figure out what they're doing. Then he comes back and he say, all right, and he grabs his boy and say, let us go down there and confound the language. So God didn't like it. He destroyed the tower and then confused the language. So that story is very telling, because it shows us that with common communication, when there's a transference of thought without any ambiguity, that's when you have true teamwork or a true community. and everybody they could work together and they could do whatever they set their minds to, because those minds, what you set to, can be transferred from one person to the other. You know, that's how the human body works. Um, but to destroy that, or to disrupt that, you break up the communication. So that's what said. God destroyed the tower and diversified the tongue, and then everybody else. And then in Genesis 11 is when you have the table of nations in the Bible, I believe. You know, I'm a little rusty on the biblical quotes, but I believe in Genesis 11 is when you have the so-called table of nations. So now all of a sudden you have this splitting of the different people. You got different people going in different areas, speaking different languages now, and now they can't do the great things that they once was able to do. But that story, you know, I'm just saying that story, although it is a story, it could be used as a very good teaching tool about communication, period. You know, um, and it applies to what we're dealing with right now. So, and it's semantics. Once you lose the transference of your thoughts, because we're not telepathic, we want to transfer our thoughts to other people. We have to do that by way of language. So what I'm thinking has to match with what you're thinking. The transmitter has to match the receiver. You know, same thing with a radio. You tune into Hot 97. You turn your radio dial. You have to receive that signal properly in order for you to hear clearly. But if your dial is off a little bit, you're not going to hear it clearly. And I'm using that analogous to ambiguity. So if I'm talking to you and you don't understand my meaning, which is semantics, then I'm not going to be clear to you, and it's going to be some miscommunication right there, and you don't understand me, you know. So okay, I'm sorry, I paused. I was reading the brother Sean's comment. Sounds like that's how they did us coming off the boat. I'm assuming he's talking about the slavery Holocaust. Made sure we couldn't communicate. That is what I got out of Babylon story. Yeah, it's you know, that Babel story is a military tactic too. It's used today in the military tactic, and basically what it is that you want to destroy your enemy's communication ability to communicate. That's the first thing that the military. I was never in the military, but anybody on the panel, anybody who watches the video that was in the military, I mean, we can read history, the wars, you know, the all the different wars around the world. One of the first things that a military a tactic or commander does is they destroy the communication of the enemy, the ability to communicate. Because once you destroy the communication, then now one unit can't communicate with the other unit, and they can't be in sync with each other. You know, everybody pretty much knows that.
When you were telling that story about the military, it made me think of when we were in war. I believe it's World War. I want to say World War II. Actually, we were trying to fight World War II, and we had to bring in the Native Americans to communicate because the enemy had stole our codes for communicating. And so what they did was they brought in the Native Americans who spoke a language that only they could understand. So they brought those in. I guess they're kind of like code talkers or something like that is what they were called. And so they couldn't steal our communication because they couldn't understand what we were saying. So that's what I thought about when you brought up the Tower of Babel on Wednesday, and you brought the military as well.
Right, and but like I said, yeah, that's a military tactic. So really, you know, and that kind of brings us to what we're doing. You know, we're trying to have a meeting of the minds with the ancient Egyptians, or what we know as the Remich, the people of ancient Kemet. All right, we're trying to have a meeting of the minds. So what we have to do, and we have to do our best at it, is that we have to cut out the ambiguity, we have to make it very clear. So that's why we're even studying the language, so that we can tune in to the meanings behind all of these different words and so on and so forth. So, and it's a process. So we're going through a beginner's stage of learning the language. We have to identify the glyphs, the script, which is Seshew, Medew, Netcher. We have to identify all these glyphs. We have to learn how they're grouped together to form words, and now we have to attach meanings to the words. And that's a lengthy process. And we have to learn the grammar, because grammar is the law of language. Basically, it's the law that establishes the relationships between words. How do we know the different parts of speech, or what's called the grammatical categories, such as nouns, pronouns, verbs, prepositions, adverbs, conjunctions, interjections, all these different things. How do they function? Why do we call them those things? You know, um, and then from there you have syntax. You have how the sentences are structured and things, or word order, and so on and so forth. And what else? Well, all of those things will help us to determine the intended meaning. And then on top of that, even once you master all of that, everything that I just said, once you master that, then you have to actually investigate and recover the realities behind anything that was recorded by way of any of the figure of speeches, such as metaphor, allegory, symbolisms, hyperbole, simile, and the other figures of speech. And that was very normal back in ancient times. You know, in ancient times, that's how I put forward this question, and I'm pretty much waiting for people to really catch on to the question first, so that we can have a dialogue about it, um, which is to the effect of today, we speak English, and we have the help of dictionaries to consult, in terms of meanings of words. So whenever we forget a meaning of a word, or we hear a word that we don't use often enough, we can consult a dictionary to find out its meaning. But in ancient times, even in oral traditions, traditions that have no writing, or even before writing came about, the question is, how did the people in any particular community, culture, nation, etc., how did they remember the consensus of the meanings behind the words that they were using to communicate to one another? Now that question may seem, simple, like whatever, but it's one of those things that we need to think about, because in trying to answer it, we'll come to realize that, we have to think outside of dictionaries, and we will have to think of a way to crystallize or fossilize these meanings, so that everyone will know what each other is saying to convey. And so how was that done? And can that be reflected in the scripts, in the various scripts of the different nations? So in our particular case, Kemet, can it be reflected, or can it be seen inside Seshew Medew Netcher? And so I just put that question out there to have a discussion about, not tonight, but some future discussion about that. I think it would be interesting for us to talk about that. So, but with that said, we can go on to another inscription. I want to make sure I'm not missing any questions. Anybody see any questions? Okay, we have Sonette, or Sister Monica, joining us. Hotep, Brother Sean, and all right. So we want to move on to the next thing. Anybody have a question about the picture? I stopped sharing it for a minute.
Oh, someone wants to know what this picture is from. I thought it was a Shabbat from the tomb of King Tut. Is that what that object is?
Oh, they're asking where it's from. I'm not quite sure where it's from, but it's definitely must have been in the possession of. It must have been among the things recovered from Tutankhamun's tomb, as we all should know, that the tomb of Tutankhamun was one of the pretty much the most complete tomb, or the untouched tombs that we have to date, or that archaeologists or Egyptologists recovered to date. Most people will say grave robbers, modern grave robbers, but that tomb was pretty much intact. you know. So I believe that was one of the artifacts from his tomb. So, but where it is now, or reference to it as far as museum or the museum catalog number and things, I don't know off the top of my head. I got that picture from the internet, so I don't know. I could probably hunt it down. But it's a canoptic. It's the canoptic chest of Tutankhamun. And as you know, canoptic. In case anyone's not familiar with canoptic, most people may be familiar with canoptic jars, and there's usually four of them. And those four canoptic jars would represent the four sons of Heru, and they would um, be containers for different parts of the body in the funerary ritual of mummification and things like that. So you have the four sons. You have Happy, Kabesanov, Duamatef, and Imseti.
And so he used a chest instead of using jars.
I guess so. Apparently. Now that was just a side view, so it may have been the jars within the chest. By saying canoptic chest, it could be a square container that held the different jars. But that was the particular picture. Let me share it again. That picture was a side view. You should see it on my screen again. And let me zoom back out so you can see the whole thing. All right. So yeah, it looks like it's in a museum somewhere, and it looks like a square chest. But now these heads here, I'm assuming it's four. We see three in the picture, but I'm assuming there's a fourth one that we can't see. Now this may be just a chest to hold the actual jars. So we're probably looking at the tops of the jars, of the canoptic jars. Like I said, I grabbed this picture from the internet. All right, so um, to move on to the next one. What was the second picture? Does anybody have any comments? Anything about what we were talking about? Yes, no, maybe so.
Yep, it's all good.
All right, so let me share another one, and we will go into it. Got that dead silence. We need that. We need elevator music. All right, so I'm gonna share another one, and just somebody let me know when they can see it. Can anybody see it?
Two.
All right. So let me see how it looks on the screen. Oh, it looks pretty big. All right, that's good enough. All right. Okay. 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 All right. Okay. So let's go in. So four steps. The four steps. The four steps. We always emphasize the four steps, which is Tep Hesip, the correct method in transliterating and translating. Those four steps are: step one, to identify the direction in which the signs are to be read. Step two, identify each individual sign and document it. Step three is to group the signs into words and then look those words up in the dictionaries or vocabulary lists and record the definitions. And then step four is to use those definitions to come up with a sensible translation for intended meaning of whatever inscription that you're dealing with. All right, so anybody on the panel want to jump in and start off with step one? Step one, well, I'll leave it to whoever's going to jump in.
All right, this is Brother Antoine Jermaine. If I was to transliterate this and translate, the first thing I would start with would be let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 10th column from the left.
Wait, let me get my cursor to follow you. And actually, I need to make this big on my screen. Okay. All right, say that again. You said 10th one from the left. Is that what you said?
Correct. Yeah, that's correct. I would start with the 10th one from the left.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 over here.
Right. And I wish we had this the actual. This is a reprint. I wonder what where the actual photo from. But I would start with the 10th column, and we know it's going vertical. Um, this is actually the 10th column is going to go right to left.
Okay.
We have
Are you saying the 10th column, or are you saying all of these columns?
no, I'm saying the 10th column on back and keep going left. Those first 10 columns are going to be vertical, right to left,
Okay.
and then looks like we have a column that's maybe shaded out or damaged. Then after that column, you have 5 columns that will go vertical left to right,
Okay.
and then up under that, you have 4 columns that will go vertical left to right, and then behind that, going back to your left, we're now going to rows. Looks like we have 4 rows, so it will be horizontal, and those will be read right to left. Those 4 rows. So that's kind of how
Okay.
you can do it. You could actually, I mean, you could start anywhere. Sometimes, people like to start where they recognize things. But if I was to start this one, I would probably start with the 10th row and work my way back.
All right. Okay. So basically, all right. So this is a good one to show a multiple direction inscription, because a lot of inscriptions that we were dealing with, well, even the last one we did, those were two columns going in 2 different directions, with the one we just did. And this one is an inscription going in 1, 2, basically 2 different directions, but also we have columns and we have an instance of rows. All right, so this is what we were saying on Wednesday, where that's the only thing that would make step 1 kind of a little harder. It's just when you're dealing with inscriptions that have multiple direction signs, but it's easy to figure out. It's just that's the only thing that will make it any longer than it has to be. Trying to figure that out. All right, so that was step 1. Now step 2, let's just try to identify some of these signs. I mean, we don't have to identify them all, but let's deal with, because a lot of them are repeats. We see. So anybody want to point out some signs?
Yeah, I do. I guess I'll start on where the back deck at the winged disc, the sun rated. I mean the sun winged disc at the top. The same the walking stick, the cobra, the credential loaf, the water ripple, the water ripple, uh, the basket with the handle, uh, the ankh, the djed pillar, the wall scepter. Um, Same sign. I guess I'll start on the other side. Most of them are repeat. The Corinthial loaf, the ankh, the horn viper, the djed pillow, the wall scepter, the basket with no handle, the water ripple, the folding cloth, the leg, the basket, and the I forgot what that is. Is that the ribs and what is that? The spine? The spine? I can't remember what that. I think that's the spinal cord, ain't it? I'm gonna just say the spinal cord for now. The raised bread loaf, the ear part, the nail basket, the heel, the water ripple, the hand, the forearm with a wand in his hand, the placenta, the open mouth. Y'all want me to keep going or just start? I mean, is that enough? Or?
Well, yeah, that's enough. Let's
All right, can we identify if it's some we don't recognize? Can we get some help with those?
Okay, yeah. Well, let's call off the ones we don't recognize, or anyone that doesn't recognize.
All right, I'm at the bottom in the column. It's going right to left. I'm in the second column. I see the arm. I see the flex. I see the I want to say 3 strokes or tie. Up under that, I think it's a tongue, but I could be wrong.
Oh, right here where my cursor is.
Correct.
Okay, let me see if I can zoom in. Well, definitely getting clearer. So we're dealing with a drawing here. Does anybody know what that is? Anybody else?
Where y'all at?
If you can see my cursor right here, this sign right here, this glyph.
Yeah, I can't see your cursor.
Oh,
What column? What column?
okay. On the let me echo on the bottom vertical columns, the second column from the left.
Oh, okay, I see it now. That's that look like the Psy. Well, that says his body, so that look like the Psy symbol to me for protection.
Okay.
Well, you talking about the second column, right?
Y'all
At the
down at the
bottom.
bottom? At the
Yeah.
bottom?
Mm-hmm.
Right it says his body right there, right? How he or whatever.
And you
Then
saying up under it is the saw sign. It's laying down.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I just looked at it. I was actually looking at another screen, but from if we freestyle, I mean, that's just what I would think it would be.
I don't know what it is. It don't look like the saw sign. But I don't know what that is. Man down.
Man down.
Anybody else?
I need help. I need help with another symbol over in the rows.
Nah, that sign, I forget the transliteration, but I think that's the harpoon. That horizontal sign.
Okay. Now,
Yeah, it will be. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, I don't know if you can see my cursor on it, but this will be an example. See, this is what happens. Also, even if you had the sign list or dictionaries available to you and you were using them, sometimes inscriptions can be damaged, and sometimes signs you can't make them out. So you had to use a whole bunch of other clues to come to your aid to help. So a lot of times you would have to come back to this after you have identified the words in front or behind it, because then you'll have clues to whatever makes sense. in terms of another word. So you have like Irian, Hau, and if June is correct, then it would be Wa, or harpoon would be unique. Together with, and then you have some damage text and so on and so forth. But there'll be an instance where you have to go back and forth, and you may have to revisit what you thought it was. So you have a preliminary, okay, this could possibly be a harpoon, but you got to be flexible because you may have to readjust what you thought it was. And by this damage text right here, we're gonna lose some context.
Okay. The other symbol is in the third row to your left,
Uh-huh.
up under the Sanu, the first glyph under the Sanu.
Third row, right here. Where am I? Can you see my cursor?
Let's see. I don't see the cursor. It's up under the. It's in the third row at the bottom to your left.
But the next to the
There you go. Yeah, I see your cursor now. Correct. Next to mess. Next to
Yeah.
mess. I see mess per.
Okay, that's I believe those are bullhorns. It's a monoglyph, what they call a monoglyph, which is two glyphs together. You have something pouring out, and then like the horn at the same time, and then three plural strokes under it. 3 strokes under it.
You said that's the you said a bullhorn.
Yeah, part of a horn, and then something being pouring out.
Okay, I see. It's the horn. It's just one horn to the left, and something being poured over it. Okay, I see. I see it now. But I don't know. I still don't know what it is though. But I can tell what it is visually. I don't know the sound or what it's used for though.
We know this is the dagger or knife with the legs, the purr, the tied animal skins or foxtails, and the horn, water pouring out, 3 strokes, set animal, owl, door bolt. That could either be G1 vulture, probably is, because this is her. So identifying, anybody else got something they can't identify? Yeah, but I wish we did actually have the actual wherever this came from, the actual picture, so we can see it. Because obviously these columns were damaged. These spots where you see these different scribbly lines must have been damaged. Anybody else have any comments about that? I'll just make sure I'm not missing any comments in the chat. Where's the cursor? Oh, all right, my hat raw. All right, so I guess let's just for time's sake, how long have we been going? For 2 hours? Okay, for time's sake, let's do this for this top right hand section, top right, where you have the wing sun disk, all of the columns under the top right. If you can't see my cursor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns under the wing sun disk on the top right.
Okay.
So let's do a column at a time.
I'll do the first one.
All right, go for it.
Words spoken. I have given to you life, stability, and dominion.
Okay. Yep. So how would that be transliterated?
The Jed
Well,
Meadow.
yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I was gonna say you don't have to spell it, but as far as Egyptology speak.
I'll do my best. It's the Jed Meadow, Diane, Enek, Unk, the Jed was.
All right. Next column.
No, I can take that one. Yeah, the first part is pretty similar to what Kofi said. Jed, Medew, DNA, and Neck, Snap, anxious, what can I give? Given to you health.
All right. Next column.
Jed Medew N, Jed Medew D N E N A Out Ib. That's words spoken. I have given to you joy.
Okay. Good. Next column. Running it down.
Amin Ra Neb Nasut Ta Tawi.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Amin Ra Neb Nasut Tawi.
Okay. And what does that mean?
Amin Ra Lord of the Thrones, or Lord of the Thrones of the Two Lands.
Okay. Right. All right. Who wants to grab the last column? The last itty bit.
You said Netcher.
I'm
You
sorry.
said Netcheru.
I'm
You
sorry.
said Netcheru.
That June. That's your little one giving the last column. But Antoine, I think you had to repeat it. I didn't hear what you said.
I said sweats. You said Netcheru. Netcherus.
All right. What does that mean?
I want to say King of Divinities.
All right. Okay. So good. Anybody else have anything different for any of those columns?
Now I just have a question right here. At the column, the Amin Ra Neb, he said Nasut Tawi. The three G's or the three jars. That's throne, right? That's where he get NS. Is it NST? Neb Nasut Tawi.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I know I've seen that a few times, so I was just trying to make sure.
It's actually in that lentil you posted, I believe.
Lord of the thrones of the two lands. Amun Ra. All right. Anybody else have anything else? Any other comments?
What was the third column? The rib
Uh,
and the rib and the T.
that was
June.
that was the one. That's joy.
Yeah, Out Ib.
That's joy.
I forgot. I don't know how you say it, but that's how I say it.
Yeah,
Ib.
all joy.
Right. It's Awud Ib, which is joy by itself. So we don't see the Neb basket under it. Usually you'll see the Neb basket under it, which will say
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah,
all joy.
that's right.
Just to show comparison, I don't. Let me see if y'all could tell me if y'all can see my cursor. Hopefully you can. Can y'all see my cursor?
Yeah.
Okay, so over here we have Awud Ib without the Neb basket under it. So this is just joy. But over here, if you look here, we have Awud Ib with the basket. So this is all joy. So here's an example of all joy right here in this column. And then over here we have just Seneb by itself, as Sister Tonica pointed out, Jed, Medew, D&E, and Ek, Seneb. But over here we have Seneb, Neb. Over here, Seneb, Neb. So this is all health. Over here we have Ankh, Jed, Was, which is life, stability and dominion, as Brother Kofi said, without the Neb basket. But over here we have it with the basket. So we have Unk, Jed, Was, and the Neb. So all stability, all dominion, all stability and dominion. All right. So that's just different. So we can see how this is like. And even over here in this column, we have Seneb Neb again. We have Jed, Was, and Neb. So Unk, Jed, Was, Neb again, which is all life, stability, and dominion. Over here, all health, and over here, all joy. And over here, you see the same thing played out.
Have see words spoken by Happy.
Right here in this column. Yep.
Yeah, Happy right up under him.
Mm-hmm. So now so you're gonna see the difference here. So now, I mean, we pretty much finished. I don't know if we're gonna do any more of the transliterations, but as far as discussing this, over here you have Jed, Medew, and then D and E and Ek. And you got 3 of those. So Jed, Medew, D and E and Ek, and then giving 3 different things. And then who is doing it? It's Amun-Ra, who is Lord of the thrones of the 2 lands and King of all the gods, or King of the gods, or King of the divine principles, as people might rather say. But over here on this side, you don't have the Jed, Medew, and then go into D and E and Ek. You have Jed, Medew, in. So now we're actually quoting someone saying something. So you're going to see names after this one. Unlike over here, you didn't see anybody's name. So you have Jed, Medew, in. And then we have a name. So who is this?
Hekau.
Okay, yep. So now we know that Hekau is talking, speaking. The next one over here, the next Jed, Medew that we come in contact with. So we have Jed, Medew, I believe Antoine already said that one. Happy. So this last one, so who? Well, actually, is it a who on this last one?
No.
All right. And why? Why not?
It doesn't have a Jed Medew, but so we know someone's giving though.
Well, it does have a Jed Medew, but it just doesn't have.
I think it precedes the line before it.
Yeah. So there's 2 Jed Medew formulas that we should all be familiar with. Two versions of them. We have Jed, Medew, in, and that's usually followed by a name and then a bunch of epithets possibly. And then we have Jed, Medew, and then we just go into what is being said. So Jed, Medew, in is words spoken by, and then a name will come after that. So by who, and then by the person, by whoever. But then we have Jed, Medew, which is words spoken, and then it says, and then it just goes into those particular spoken words without introducing the person saying whatever, but that person's name may come after. All right, so that's like the difference, and it's a slight difference. So over here we have D and E and Ek, Unk, Was, Neb, Kher. And then we continue on, and even down here, and like I said, we have some damage text and stuff going on. But so hopefully, I think we've done enough for the Freestyle Friday, unless you all want to have a discussion. Now we have 3 slots open. If to have someone join the panel, I believe Brother Antoine needs to be added back in real quick.
Yeah, I see you took the picture down.
Oh, you had a question? I can share it again.
I was going to just ask about like you said, we kind of went over it again, but just to clarify the individuals that are in the picture. So
Okay. Well, um, from what we are seeing so far in the inscriptions, that we see over here on the far right hand side, a lot of the different we're gonna use a lot of clues to figure out who is who. So over here we know, or we should know, that Amun Ra is usually depicted with the headdress of the two plumes.
we don't
The
we don't see
picture
the picture
black.
on YouTube. Yeah, we don't see the picture on YouTube.
Oh, you don't see it? Okay, hold on. Let me. I guess I gotta reshare. All right, let's try this again. How about now? Can you see it?
No, sir.
All right, so we're back at this Mercury in retrograde situation going on here or something, huh? And
So
I bet you Mercury's not even.
that's what you're gonna blame it on. You ain't gonna blame it on Apple. You always talking about Apple, but you're gonna blame it on the retrograde today. Okay.
It's definitely not Apple. It is. If
I
anything,
wonder if
it is Google Hangout. It is Google.
I
Let me
wonder if
try this one
Apple
more time.
Does Apple have a different cursor? 'Cause sometimes it's hard to see that T.
All right, so we have brother Damo joined us. You said the T. The all right. Let me try this again. I guess let me switch it on to someone else. Someone else. This is what I did last time. If it's not broken, don't fix it. So we're gonna try this again. All right. All right. So we should have it.
No, sir.
No, man. Somebody else needs to share it then. I see it on my screen. Can y'all see it in the Hangout at all? I see it in the Hangout. I see it on my screen.
No, it's not in the Hangout. I mean, it's a black screen on the Hangout.
All right. I even locked the screen. Unlock, lock.
There you go. We have visual.
All right. You have it. All right. All right. So okay, go for it. So Albert Antoine, you were saying something.
Yeah, so I know we have Happy. I know we have Armin. I know we have um, I know we have Armin. I know we have Armin Ra based on what we read. And he also said we have he said Hekaka.
Right. Okay, so I was saying that now some of the different Netcheru, the various different Netcheru, we can identify based on their headdress. So it's a combination of the headdress and the inscriptions that will give us more precisely who they are. So over here on the right hand side, this is typical of Amun Ra because we see the feathered head plume, the plumes, the high plumes that are used as a headdress. That's typical of Amun Ra. So, and we see his name in the inscriptions here. And the inscriptions are facing left, and he's facing left. All right, so we see that. And then we see what would normally look like a depiction of Heru, because we have a falcon-headed Netcher here. And then if we go over here, we see a potch-bellied Netcher and also another one. Now this particular one on the far left is typical of Happy, and we see the name Happy up here above the head. Jed Medew and Happy. All right, and And then we have a Jed Medew Hikau. So, and this is above the head of this particular figure or Netcher. So we can say happy Hika or Hikau, and then we have Amun Ra. So the only one that we don't see a Jed Medew in, as far as something being said, is for this middle figure, and also obviously the smaller figures that are being handed to, or handed over, or presented to Amun Ra. That's the only thing that we do not see.
So will we say the figures are the identified by the Sanu?
The Shanu. Oh, as far as the smaller figures?
Two.
Well, the Shanu is only one person because we have Neb Ma'at Ra, and we have Amenhotep, Hikawaset, and so this is the throne name. So we have Nisabiti, and we have the throne name. We have Sarah and the family name, and then we have the Horus or Heru name. But this is all one person, just three
You
different.
have all five names.
Well, we have the three of the names, and then down here we have again Amenhotep, Hikawaset or Hikwaset. Um, in here, so that's a repeat of this. So that's the Sarah name, which you can see the duck here, Sarah. And then over here, we see the throne name again, but it's preceded by the word Mary, whom is beloved. So we have Nebmat Ra. So I'm saying that to say that wouldn't tell us who all of these figures are, because we're only dealing with one name that's identified here. So that's pretty much how far we would be able to go, unless we had some other text that's cropped out of this particular picture, so we can have more context. So we have to utilize the context that we have, and we should be comfortable with stopping there and not assume too far off, because that's where you get into people speculating a little too much. But like, yeah, those three smaller figures, those are the pygmies,
Nah, but that's what I say. My pineal gland is telling me those little people is
yeah, they say, well, what you're looking at is giants. Those are the giants in the earth in those days. That's actually Genesis chapter 6. And matter of fact, that's when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of man. So those are really four girls right there, and they're about to have children and procreate. And
That's,
again,
I mean, we kidding, but I mean, you will have people that will really do that, will really say that, man. Just looking at the picture.
right. That's where the advantage of, or the importance of learning the language, because we'll know exactly that these are not aliens, these are not sons of God or anything like that in that particular context. These are not giants, and these are regular people. We know that these are youth. These are youths, as people in the Caribbean would say, or children, because they have the side lock of a child. So we know that. So we had to have some kind of cultural familiarity with the culture. Then we know that the scribes, um, outside of those being youth or small children or smaller children, even a lot of other inscriptions, the bigger figures are not. It's not that they're giants. It's just that they are the main focus of the piece. So a lot of times the bigger figure means that they have more importance and they have more focus in the overall intended meaning of whatever was recorded. It has nothing to do with them being giants or anything like that. And then overall, we know that there's no such uh, person walking around, human being with a falcon head in this case. And then in other cases, we know that there's no such thing as a human being with a dog head, which would be Anpu. Nobody walking around with a scarab head, such as Kepper No one walking around with a ram's head, such as Khanum. No one walking around with a ibis bird head, such as Jehuti. You know, we should definitely be at that point. You know, should definitely be at that point by now. So yeah, all right. Well, I think that will conclude this particular picture. I'm just gonna check the chat if anybody had any comments, questions. No, well, I'm gonna stop sharing this. So, did anybody have any other comments, questions? Let me take this focus off of my screen. Any questions, comments before we close it out? It's 11:38 on Friday night. I always say sleep is for the weak, and you know I can do this for a long time. Just to discuss Kemet period. I see we have Brother Damo join us, ETM Hotep. Brother, if you have anything to say, chime in. Anything you want to comment about? Question, comment, share.
Hotep, everybody, I came in late. Just cut out probably the last 15 minutes of everything. Nothing to share, just Hotep to everybody. Sorry I was late.
All right, no problem. But you missed out, man. We actually uncovered the mystery of the pyramids. We know exactly how they were built. You know
y'all,
exactly
y'all,
how.
y'all's going over the inscriptions. Y'all must have been going over some mathematical papers.
Yeah, yeah. Math, chemistry, and math. It's a papyrus called the levitation papyrus. No, I need to stop because, you know, what will happen is, you know, somebody will take this video and have a sound bite and say, see, Ujao believes in astral projection and mathematical, levitation papyrus, sound bite, you know, chop it up. So let me stop with that. But does anybody have anything else to discuss? You know, we got a little bit of time. Hold up, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. What is it, 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, we have 2 slots. So if somebody wanted to join in on the panel and have some comments, something to share, anybody that's watching, just let me know. I'm looking at the chat now. So if you would like to come into the actually to the hangout, just let me know real quick. Guess not.
Hey, just real quick, while it's out there, did y'all talk about the guy that's going around telling people that you can read the metal Netcher because of the melanin that's in your eyes, and you automatically download it into the subconscious?
Turn the light back on.
Wait, did you you got to repeat that? Say that again, because I hope I didn't hear what you said. Hope I mean.
Yeah, they say there's a guy going around telling people that the metal Netcher is already in your DNA, and all you have to do is stare at it and look at it through the melanin that's in your eyes, and you can automatically download it into your subconscious.
Okay. Um, no, I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, you know, it's always sometimes some stuff just come out every week. I mean, we showing people how to do it, what we're doing, and it's always some people come way out of left field with with another accusation about the language.
You know, see, I find that interesting because people that do that, they are the people who are not studying it. They don't study it. So it really boils down to just making up any excuse not to learn. And I swear we tend to try to take the easy way out of everything. You know, which is probably a natural quality that we have because we try to simplify everything. We try to make everything easy. Just look at what drives technology. A lot of what drives technology is the idea of making things more comfortable. Look at the remote control on a TV. You know, we invent the infrared. You know, we utilize infrared to develop a remote control to change the channel instead of getting up out off the sofa, walking to the TV and changing it. So now we have a remote control. So a lot of the things we do is for convenience and for easiness and things like that. So I think that is reflected in information and studies and academia and everything. We want to take the easy way out, which is fine, but now people are making excuses for it to justify it. And only time that you justify things is usually when you're in the wrong, you know, or you kind of know that this is really not the way to go. You know, people make up excuses for things. So people will say, you know, they will talk about, I mean, they will flat out deny that the Seshew Metal Netcher is deciphered. Somebody will look at this video and look at what we do on Wednesdays and so on and so forth and say that we're not doing what they're watching us do. Like literally, they'll watch us do it and then say that we're not doing it. You know, and I think that is I think that has some kind of relationship with cognitive dissonance as well, because you have, you know, that's the way that the mind justifies holding on to a belief. So you want to believe that the inscriptions are not deciphered, so you have to somehow reason that out in your own mind. So what do? You make up the fact that yeah, the glyphs, you know, we could do it with the whatever you said, the melanin in our eyes or the pineal gland, or you know, they don't even go that far. They just say, no, it's not deciphered. Nope. Nope.
We got two people on the join.
My name is Ramses Unk. Ramses Unk, but no, the glyphs aren't deciphered. You know what I mean? So it's kind of crazy. You said people want to join? All right. Let's see who. Okay, brother Sean. And all right. And we have people who will say that the glyphs are not deciphered, but they will have a committee name, and their name will happen to be a grammatically incorrect name. So how about that?
Hey, that's what kills me when they do that and then their name don't even line up, don't even make sense.
Yep.
I met a guy named Haru, and he told me that the glyphs wasn't deciphered. So I showed him a bunch of glyphs with the name Haru in it. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude?
Right. I mean that's really amazing to me. Somebody who will have a committee name, but yet they will say that the glyphs are not deciphered. I mean, I just don't understand that. I really don't understand that. That's analogous to, you know, you standing in a spot and somebody, like, while you're standing in a spot, somebody's looking at you standing in a spot, and then somebody looking at you saying you're not in the spot that you're in. That's crazy. All right, so I passed out the link to those who said they want to join in.
All right, hotel.
And I think I need to see anybody.
Yeah, they joined in.
Okay, brother Sean popped on in here. Hotep, ETM Hotep, welcome. You should be good right now. If you unmute your mic, I just want to make sure that we can hear you.
Hotep family.
All right, there you go, Hotep.
One thing I was thinking about when it comes to the sesh, kind of how you were talking about when you write your book, you want to give more than just a formula. You want to give a conceptual understanding. And so I think sometimes what a lot of the people who say you can't decipher, they can look at it. They can look at it and see that you have a, you know, a formula, a methodology to where you use the 4 steps. but then there's is that conceptual understanding of what the Rimich people are trying to get over to you. Are you actually getting that meaning from your studies? And in that part, I kind of break that down to having a sable or actually having someone who can break things down to you, and also being able to go into the paronymities or the metaphors yourself and pull things out too. So I think that's one of I guess that's what people have a hard time understanding, the two differences between the surface level understanding and also taking time to dig into the culture and tradition.
Hmm. Right. And this is not this is um, what I also find interesting is that you don't find that kind of talk with the specialized sciences or other sciences. So that should let us know that our perception of language is viewed differently than how we would look at astrophysics or even genetics or chemistry, um, quantum mechanics, or things like that. You don't find this kind of talk about those fields of study or sciences. But when it comes to language, we have, all kinds of excuses, all kinds of claims, all kinds of things about that. And I think that has something to do with the fact that we take communication in general, I think we take it for granted because it's something that we naturally inherit as human beings from babies. We're born and we have to communicate. So we learn our mother language, um, whatever language our parents and family are speaking to us and us to them. We learn it so naturally and so gradually that we take the study of language for granted. And so people don't look at it like how we would look at chemistry or something that you would specifically get into that you don't learn naturally like how we learn languages, because you're not going to naturally come into the flow of learning chemistry or quantum mechanics, astrophysics, biogenetics and things like that. You're not going to naturally come into that information. You have to actually go to an institution, or whether you're self-taught or not, you actually have to, um, specifically do that. But whereas communication, language is something you learn naturally. So we're going to take it for granted, and by us doing that, we don't take it serious as a whole, and people think they have it figured out when you really don't. You know, we can speak English all day, every day, and we can speak it properly. But when we have an actually analyze it and discuss it in a on an intellectual level, have an intellectual conversation about it, a lot of people can't identify the different parts of speech. Um, the grammatical categories, the for parts of speech, different properties of the different parts of speech and stuff. If I ask someone what is a relative clause, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm saying those are things that we won't normally know until we go into a study of it. But we can use them. We use relative clauses all the time. We use all the different parts of speech all the time. But when it comes to identify them and to specifically discuss them, a lot of people won't be able to. Not beyond, the basic grammar and literature that you learn in high school. We take courses, grammar and literature, where we learn, verbs, pronouns, and stuff like that. And then we take English lit or literature, where we learn, different poems, um, things. I really wasn't, I didn't really wasn't too keen on English literature. I did it just because I had to, but I did not like that. You had to read Edgar Allan Poe and Macbeth and Beowulf and all those different stories in English literature. But grammar, to me, grammar, I see grammar as an equation. It's real. It's like detective work. For me, I got into computer programming. I'm a computer programmer, so language and stuff is I see it scientific, and I've actually had a change. I had a paradigm shift, you know, because I was one of the ones. You grow up, you take it for granted, but then when you study language, when you have to learn a language, especially with computer languages, and because computer languages are what they call con language, which is short for constructed languages, and when you learn it, you have to. It's like a synthetic language, so you have to actually reproduce a natural language, so to speak. So when you're doing that, you start learning the different parts and components of what makes a language and what makes a language useful and what it's used for and how it functions and everything. So then you have a paradigm shift. So any computer programmer out there, they would find Seshew Medew Netcher very interesting, you know. Oh yeah, I appreciate that. Dua for that, brother Sean. Yeah, before we go too long, I do want to mention for the video sake, for those who are gonna be watching the archive and watching live, um, we do have classes that are available. Like I said, this is Freestyle Friday, and we basically, you know, kind of have fun. We do away with the dictionaries and vocabulary list, and we just try to go from the top of our head, from the dome, as we say, and we try to transliterate and translate these pictures and these different texts. So we do that on Fridays, but we have classes where beginners class, and where this book is used. Beginner's introduction is probably backwards. This is where I do share. Here we go. Beginner's introduction to Medew Netcher. We use this as a textbook and go through the book step by step, interactively, and we learn the language at a beginner's level. And if you take an interactive course with a teacher, with me, or any future teachers, which is another thing I'll mention, I guarantee you that by the time you finish the course, you will be able to transliterate and translate text. You'll have all the tools that you need, and you'll have the knowledge on how to do it. Now, how well you do it and how fast you do it is up to you. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the practice. And that goes for anything. You know, like even a coach, a gymnast, teaching someone gymnastics. You can only show the technique, coach them through the technique, and then give them the tools to perform the techniques. But then they themselves have to actually do it and get the muscle memory, get the body used to doing what it's doing, and then they have to develop it. So that's pretty much the same thing. But those classes are available on the website, medewNetcher.com. It is mdw-ntr.com, medewNetcher.com, and the links will be placed in the bottom of this video. Also, we have flashcards available. Let's see if here the flashcards are available for all of the different monoliterals. What will constitute an alphabet, and then on the other side we have the description, the Gardner code, and then both of the transliteration systems, manual decodage, which is the MDC, and then diacritic. So, like for example, let's show the vulture. So if you see this, you see the capital A for manual decodage and the diacritic 3 for the vulture, Gardner code G1, and this is the vulture here. All right, these cards are available. It's recommended that you use some kind of flashcards, whether you get them, the ones made and available, or make your own. All right, but these are convenient. There's 25 in all, and they have all of the alphabets there. So that's available on the website as well. All right, so hopefully that covered. And also, I'm looking to start a new class group. Really ASAP, as soon as possible. I have a couple of people interested. We're trying to coordinate the meeting day. You know, right now the times that are available are in the evenings during the week, except Wednesday and Friday, and then we have Saturday open. So if you're interested, you see this video, whether you're watching now live or see it in the archive, email info@medewnetcher.com. That's info@mdw-ntr.com, or you can inbox me on Facebook. My screen name is Wajao Irdi Ma'at on Facebook, or you can contact anyone in the Seshew Medew Netcher Let them know you're interested in the classes. In the fall, um, we will be moving on to offering a grammar course, because by the fall, hopefully, I will have completed and published the grammar book. All right, and at that time, we'll be starting classes with the grammar, which will be an intermediate level. But at the same time, we'll also still continue on with the beginners level, or the beginners classes. And those who have taken the beginners classes, who are involved with the Seshew Medew Netcher, who are interested and want to teach, then the door will be open, or the way will be open to have more teachers of the beginners Seshew Medew Netcher. And then I will kind of spearhead the grammar and get that going, so we can move forward. All right, so we have a beginners, and then we're going to have intermediate, and then the advanced level will come later, and that will deal with linguistics, period. All right, and we're going to team up. I'll be teaming up with the brother Hotep, and putting together a curriculum and some classes dealing with linguistics. All right, and that should be very interesting. With a lot of focus on historical comparative linguistics, which is the tool used to reconstruct proto-languages, which allows us to know the genetic relationships between languages. All right, and also it provides us with the data and the tools in order for us to do what we're doing with Rani Kemet, or Seshew Medew Netcher, which is to recover the historical accurate pronunciations. You know, to recover and uncover the vowels, the proper vowels, and the proper consonants that are used. All right. So, with that said, anybody else have anything to say, discuss, comment, questions? Brother Sean, do you have any questions? I know you popped in. You have any questions while we're still on?
Nah, you pretty much answered all of them as far as it goes. Because y'all got into one of the questions that I was going to ask about, the deities at the bottom, and you going over that, so I caught on to all of that.
Okay. All right. Good. I see we have brother Darius, or Chosen Lifestyle. He asked, what were the names of the Demotic and Hieratic script, and where could we find more information on them? The name of the Demotic script, we actually had a couple of posts inside the Facebook group, Seshew Medew Netcher Facebook group. So you may want to search. You can search the group for Demotic and even the word Hieratic, and you'll find some discussions about that. But for now, the Demotic was called Seshew, and it means letter writing. Shot will be letters, so it'll be Seshew, the inscriptions of letters. And then Hieratic, the closest thing that the name, see, Hieratic comes from, well, Hieratic and Demotic comes from the Greek labeling of what they felt that they were looking at. So Demotic comes from Demoticus, which means popular, or the populace, population. So it was something that was popular, or the population, or the populace was using at the time. And then Hieratic is a word that meant to them priestly writing. So there was a distinction made between the writing that the priests was in possession of, and then the various other people that came later and was using a different. It looked had a different kind of style to it. So what the Greeks was calling priestly writing, when you survey the different inscriptions or the primary text, the closest thing you'll come with the labeling of Hieratic would be Seshew Medew Netcher, which is the inscriptions of the divine books, and those divine books were in the hands of the priest. So the Greeks identifying the books that the priest was in possession of and the script that was used, they call it Hieratic, but they just calling it that because the priests themselves. But in that time, the priests themselves called it Seshew Medew Netcher, which is Netcher's divine, Medew is book, or papyrus, or scroll. So it's the inscriptions of the divine scrolls. All right, that's the difference. So you have Seshew Medew Netcher, the inscriptions of divine words, and then you have Sesh Majat Netcher, the inscriptions of divine papyruses or papyri, and then you have Sesh Nishat, inscriptions of letters, the regular correspondences that people were dealing with. All right, so that would be the closest of the three labels. Sesh Medew Netcher, Sesh Majat Netcher, Sesh Nishat. All right.
It's page 24, 25, 26 in the book. A beginner's introduction to Netcher.
All right. Okay, so hopefully that answers brother questions. And I see he said do it. All right, good. Anybody else have anything? If not, we close it out. I think we've done very well on Freestyle Fridays. We can continue to talk. I'm just going to take it off of air. I don't want the video, we certainly want the video to get too long. So with that, I'll say Shem Hotep, and I will say Godeh Nefir to those who are where it's nighttime, and Becca Nefir where those are just waking up. All right.